Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. So on this one, we are going to talk about YANKUM ropes. These are kinetic energy ropes. If you're not familiar with them, a kinetic energy rope works kind of like a bungee cord. You pull on it, it stretches a little bit, then it contracts, helps pull you out. It makes it easier on the vehicles, it makes it easier on the people in the vehicles, and it assists in the pulling it out because it builds up some energy, and then when it shrinks it helps pop it out. I'll tell you a little story of the first time I ever used a kinetic energy rope. So we were out at the dunes. I had a classic Bronco at the time, and we were heading back to camp, and I saw this big truck with 38s. I think it was a Chevy, doesn't matter. Anyway, it was heading out, we were heading in. And the next day around noon, I headed out there, and it was pretty much in the same area. There's this area at the dunes that is known to be quicksand in the winter. And I've been stuck out there myself in that Bronco. And I come out there, and nobody could go out there and help him, because it's all quicksand. He had a truck with 38-inch tires buried down to the frame. His buddy had tried to go out there, and he got stuck on the perimeter of the quicksand area. His front end had dropped in. They had a kinetic energy rope, but they couldn't get anyone out there. Nobody would go to help them or anything like that. Me being stuck out there in that same spot before, knowing what it's like, said, okay, if you know how he got out there, I'll follow you out there, and if you get stuck, I'll pull you back out, and we'll see if we can go get him out. So we go out there. We have the whole family in the rig, so I have them all get out. I hook up to this truck with my Bronco, and I'm ready for a pull. I'm going to do some work. I'm going to get this guy out of here. Like I say, it's the first time I ever used a kinetic energy rope. This was years ago. And I go, and it's just nice and smooth. You don't feel a jerk, nothing, because they stretch. So it's easier on the vehicle. I think I already said this. It's easier on the vehicle. It's easier on the people, and it works better. Popped him right out of there, one try. He was able to get out of there and head on his way and enjoy his weekend. Nobody else would go out there. So I owe that to a kinetic energy rope and me being a nice guy. So what we have here is we have a real small one. This is a 1/2 inch, and I got this for two reasons. On my property, in the wintertime, I have a field out in the back of the property, and I got one over on the side behind the shop that is just too wet. You can't get out there until the grass gets tall. You can't get out there with anything. And when the grass is tall, it's hard to mow. So when I'm finally able to get out there, I have a tow behind mower that I'll use behind a 4-wheeler or the side-by-side or behind another lawnmower. I have an old Craftsman lawnmower that I'll use for going out there. And it's not unusual for me to wind up getting stuck, because I'll go out there a little too soon. You know, when you're able to mow the yard, you mow it, and every time you mow, you try to go a little farther, so you gain your yard back. And you get too far out there, and you'd be going along fine, all of a sudden your mower just go boom. And I've been pulling that kind of stuff out with tie-down straps and everything wrong. And the last time it happened, my mower, the transmission actually twisted in the frame, and it was stuck out there. It was backwards. I had to go get a 4-wheeler, and I had to hook up to it and yank it and pull it around the correct direction so I could drag it back to the shop. And I said, that's it. I'm buying the proper rope so I don't have to beat on the equipment, and everything will be easier. The other advantage will be my youngest granddaughter, this is her 4-wheeler. Typically, now I tried to do a video using her to show this, but she wasn't in one of those moods. Usually she'll get on there and she'll ride slow, and and then she slams on the brakes. Then she'll ride slow and slams on the brakes. Then she'll ride fast and slams on the brakes. Then all of a sudden she'll shoot over here. So I started tying it. I would tie this machine to this machine, and I would follow behind her. This has a remote control. I could kill it, but I still need to be able to stop her. So I started tying it to the machine. So if she jerked faster than I could predict, we'd get this dunk, dunk. So I thought, that's another spot where these ropes will be handy. It's going to create more of a cushion in between us. So I got that for two reasons. So pulling out the four-wheelers and the lawnmower out in my field when they get stuck in the spring, and for training the youngest granddaughter. So I got a soft shackle around the frame, and then I soft shackle this around here. And if you don't know how a soft shackle works, I'll show you. So these, they're synthetic. This is, what size is this? 1/4 inch. So they got a big knot on one end, and they got this little slip knot. Well, not really a slip knot, but anyway, you slide that back, you put that knot in there, and then you tighten that back up, and that's how you pull it out. So you put that around your item, and that's easier on your items. You're not ripping all the paint off, as opposed to putting a metal shackle on it or something. And then something else I didn't tell you about YANKUM ropes. So these are made in America. Material is sourced in America. The rope itself is made by a machine. They have a machine that twists them all together. But then like the eyes are done by hand, hand tied, and then they dip them. They have multiple colors. This is their main color. They dip them in this product, and that's all done by hand. And this product helps protect the rope, and it also is a UV protectant. And then they dip the end for longer life, less abrasion. Because you can use these with a metal shackle, you can use them with anything, but it's best if you can keep all the metal out of your recovery system. So you just hook that around there like that, and you got that like that. And then when she takes off, this comes tight, and I'm able to slow her down. So I'm trying to pace behind her. And then the other place where something like this might have been handy, well, not something like this, another place where kinetic energy rope would have been handy, I was using the side-by-side and my rough cut mower, which is like a brush hog. And I was trying to mow the bank, and I'm backing down the bank and then going forward, backing down the bank and going forward, and getting the grass mowed. I backed down the bank a little too far, and the mower got stuck on something. It's in the springtime, it's sitting there four-wheel drive, it just goes. I didn't have the proper rope to pull that out, so I had to get the wife's Jeep, take it up there, you pull it up the hill with the winch. It's just a lot faster for those simple things. If you have a kinetic energy rope, you hook onto it with another vehicle, up. So, did I say anything about the sizing? So the sizing, these things come in different sizes. If you use one of these that's too big, it'll be like you're using a chain. It has to be sized for the vehicle that's pulling it. And the vehicle pulling it, if it's not heavy enough, it won't have the mass to stretch the rope. You can pull a big vehicle out with a small vehicle if you're using the correct size rope. Not always, but a lot of times. I've done it lots of times. That's where the story came from on pulling the truck that was buried out with the Bronco. So, got one of these for this. I'm gonna get them for the side-by-side and the truck and the Jeep and all that. And there is a code in the description and a discount code you use at checkout. I believe it is Dreams10. Just use that at checkout and you get an extra 10% off. There'll be a link in the description so you can go to their website and check out everything they've got. You got recovery ropes, they got recovery rings, they got winch lines, all kinds of stuff. So, hope this helps you out there, and you gotta get you some of these YANKUM ropes, kinetic energy ropes, and all their other gear. So we'll catch you on the next one. We'll see you.